Namaste students, welcome to business studies class, and we were discussing about direct link chapters, and we come to end. Now we have reached to the end of this particular chapter. In direct link, we started with there are different kinds of elements, mainly 4 kinds of elements. That is, we started with supervision, then we discussed about motivation, then we discussed about leadership, and this is the last topic, that is communication. And in the last class, we discussed about what is the formal communication, what do you mean by communication, and which are the different elements of communication, and what are the importance of communication. And we have also seen a formal communication, how formal communication will flow. We know that formal communication flow towards through the formal network. That is, like there is one structure for formal communication, or there will be a formal structure in the organization. Like it might be a manager, or then departmental heads, then employees. So there is one formal lines of communication. So formal communication, it takes the formal lines in order to communicate. But what is informal communication? Informal communication means where it arises through the needs of the employees or the individual peoples. What is their need? Based on that, this informal communication will arise. What they cannot express through formal communication, they express in case of informal communication. Then what is that informal communication? Informal communication is a communication which does not flow using a formal line. It does not flow using a formal line. It communicates informally. That means the employees, they go to canteen and they will sit and chat there. That is informal communication. And there will be a group of friends in the organization. And those group of friends, in their free time, they sit and speak. Or they speak a lot of other things which are not about the organization. So such kind of communication, we call it as informal communication. And sometimes if anything, any new technology or any new proposals, if it is introduced in the organization, this informal groups or through informal network, the employees will communicate what might be the use of this new technology, or what might be the drawback, whether we need to accept it or whether we need to reject it. So that is an informal communication. So it arises out of the needs of the employees. They want to express their ideas, or they want to express their feelings, or they want to express, or they want to speak about some other things. It may be the rumors about the organization, or it may not be about the organization. So there are a lot of other things other than the formal information. There are a lot of informal information which they need to express, and they cannot express it through the formal lines of communication. So this is the communication which takes the informal lines of communication. So that we call it as informal communication. And this informal communication, we also referred it as the grapevine network or the grapevine communication. See, it is very important, because in the question paper, there will not be a question like what is informal communication. There will be a question like what is the grapevine communication or the grapevine network. Why it is called grapevine network? Because this informal communication, it spread throughout the organization. It spread throughout the organization through its branches in all the directions. The grape, you know that it spreads its branches. So likewise, here also this particular communication, it spreads its branches throughout the organization in all the directions. It spreads its network throughout the organization in all directions. So we call it as grapevine network. Why informal communication is called as the grapevine network? Or what is the grapevine network? Grapevine network is the informal communication. Why it is called grapevine network? Because it spreads its branches throughout the organization in all directions. So we call it as a grapevine network. So when we call grapevine network, there are different kinds of grapevine network. That is an informal network. In case of formal networks, we have seen that is single chain network and the wheel network, then a circular network, then we have seen inverted V network. So there are different kinds of network we have seen in case of formal communication. So likewise, in case of informal There, first one comes, that is single strand. That is single strand network. Single strand network. What happens? How communication will flow? Communication will flow in the sequence. Communication in case of single strand network, here communication flow in a sequence. So we call it as a single strand network. The next one comes there, the gossip network. Here it is, gossip network. How it flows, this gossip network? It flows in all the direction. It flows in all the direction. How gossip will flow? Gossip, it will not be having any particular direction. Whoever we meet, or it will flow in all directions. We know that gossips or the negative communication, it spreads very fast. So this gossip network means here communication flows in all the direction. They can communicate with anyone freely. So it is called as the gossip network, where it spreads the rumors or the gossips. We know that how rumors and gossips will flow. So it flows to it communicates with the, in case of gossip network, through this network information will spread so fast. Here information will spread so fast and they will communicate with everyone. Then next one comes the probability network. Next one comes the probability network. So what is that probability network? How it flows in case of probability network? See, probability network means here he will not be specified, the person will not be specified that I have to speak to this person or I have to speak to only to this person. No, they will speak randomly. They will speak randomly whom they will meet. So here they will select the random people to communicate. How we in the organization randomly if we meet some person we speak them. That is probability network. And when we move further, if we get some other person we speak them. It's a general kind of talk. So probability network is a network where a person speaks randomly with other person whom he meets randomly. He will speak to them. That is probability network. Then there is a one more network, last one, that is cluster network. What is that cluster network? In case of cluster network, what happens in the sense? He will speak only to those persons with whom he trusts the most. He will communicate with only those persons with whom he trusts the most. Usually in the organization, in case of grapevine or informal network, it is a very popular network. Which one? The cluster network. Why it is the most popular network? Because we know that usually people will speak to those people with whom they trust the most. We will be having lot of confidential information or other information. It may be gossip or anything, but usually we speak to those people freely with whom we trust the most. So cluster network is that network where a person speaks to the other person whom he trusts the most. So these are the four kinds of grapevine or informal communication. See, in case of informal communication, when we think informal communication means it's we can say that it is not related to the organization. Organization means we takes the formal lines of communication where the formal information will passes by the superior to subordinate. But informal communication, yes, usually it takes place among the subordinates in order to satisfy their personal needs. It might be their personal needs, it might be their friendship, or it might be the concern towards someone else, or they want to share the other things which are not about the organization. Sometimes about the organization, but they cannot speak to their superior or with other whoever will be there in the organization. But here, if your manager is very intelligent or if he is a brilliant, he can make use of this informal network. How he can make use of this informal network? Now, he will be planning to introduce some new methods or the new rules or new policies. But what he does, if he introduce that new policies or new method, officially if he introduce, he may get lot of lot of what objection or workers may refuse, his employees may refuse that new methods or techniques or any of the rules and regulations. So he want to collect information first, or he want to collect the opinion of his employees. So what he can do, he can silently he can put that information in any one of the employees, in the minds of any one of the information, by making use of this informal groups. We know that there will be a lot of informal groups. If we communicate with any one of the person, then definitely it goes to the all those informal groups. And through informal communication, employees will sit together and with their friends or in the organization which is their informal groups, through that they will, through this informal network, they will communicate. So obviously manager will get to know, unofficially he will get to know what might be there, what kind of reaction he may get, what my employees are expecting among them, what they are speaking. So according to that he can make the changes, and if he get positive reactions or positive opinion from the employees, he can introduce. If he get negative opinion, he can make some changes and he can introduce. So if your manager is very brilliant, he can make use of this informal networks for the use of the organization, So this is about informal communication. Now we have completed here formal and informal communication. But when we speak about communication, then we may face a lot of problems while communicating with others. So there are some barriers of communication. Barriers means obstacles or problems which we face while communicating. So these barriers are divided into different categories. So nextly, we'll see the barriers of communication. Further, there are different types of barriers in case of communication. Now, nextly, we'll see barriers to communication. As I said, there are a lot of problems will arise in front of us when we go to speak anything or when we want to communicate something to someone. It may be your superior, or you may be communicating with your immediate boss, or you may be communicating with your subordinates, or you may be discussing something. So there will be a lot of problems may arise while communicating. So those barriers or those problems or hindrances or obstacles, we call it as barriers to communication. In case of your syllabus, these barriers of communication we mainly on the point of organization, we divide it into 4 categories. Then first one comes semantic barriers, then comes the psychological barriers, and then comes organizational barriers, then some of the personal barriers. So now we need to see what are those semantic barriers or psychological, organizational and personal barriers. How it will affect the communication between the two persons, sender and as well as receiver. So firstly we will move towards the semantic barriers. What is the semantic barriers? Semantic barriers is mainly related to the language, It may be the use of language, or it may be the use of words, or it may be the use of the pictures or encoding information or decoding information. So mainly it related to the what language or the what words or the what pictures or how we frame the sentences. Through that, if we face any of the problems, such kind of problems we call it as semantic barriers. So which of those semantic barriers we may face while communicating? So there comes the first one, badly expressed message. Badly expressed message means now I will draft particular information and my perception will be in one point and I will write the information, so and so information. The person, I will draft the information and I will send it to the person who want to receive it, and he receives the information and he reads the information. But when we read the information, he will perceive it in another way, means he understands it in the different way. In what sense I want to communicate, he will not take it in the sense how I want to communicate. He will take it in the other way. It may be positive or negative, but what I wanted to convey, he is not able to understand it, because the badly expressed message which I have drafted, it is not so communicating to him and it is not able to understand by the person who is receiving it. So when I draft the information, what I want to really express, I want it in a way, how the other person, how the common man can understand it easily. It should be in a simple way. So otherwise, what we express, they may not understand, or they may understand it in a different way. Then it leads to some other kinds of problem. So that is badly expressed message. The first one in case of semantic balance. Then the symbols with different meanings. As I said, while drafting a message, we can use some of the symbols, or we can use some of the pictures, or we can use some of the words there. So when we use the symbols with the different meaning, what happens? Now for example, I use the word as value. I take the word as value. When we say value, it has different meaning. The value, it may be sometimes the price of the particular thing. Value may be, sometimes it may be the price, or sometimes value may be, it may be the importance. What importance we give it to that particular thing or that particular person. So this kind of words, the value, it has several meanings. When we use the word which has several meanings, so it may communicate something else to the receiver. So the symbols with the different meaning. It may be the pictures, or it may be the symbols, or it may be the words with different meaning. So when we use such kind of words, we need to be very, very clear, and we need to provide proper clarity while using such kind of words. Or in other case, it is not what it is suggestible that it is, we can avoid this kind of words. It is better to avoid this kind of words, or we need to provide more clarity when we use this kind of words. So that we call it as symbols with different meaning. What happens in this case? We use this word in a particular meaning, and they receive it in a other meaning. Next one, faulty translations. Now, one more thing, we draft the information in one particular language, but the whom we want to send, he may not be able to understand that language, and he will convert it into other language. When he converts it into other language, there may be a lot of problem may arise, because he may not understand the concept what the sender has sent there, or he may understand it in a different way. Because of their translation will not be in a proper way. It's a faulty translation. Means we cannot say it as a wrong translation, but this translation is not in the proper way. It will not communicate the information what sender want to send. So there will be a faulty translation. Due to your bad translation of the language, you may get some problems while communicating. While communicating, you may face some problem because of your wrong translation, or we cannot say it as a wrong translation because of bad translation. Then unclarified assumptions. Unclarified assumptions means, now if we directly speak to that person, we can clarify so many things. There may be a more clarity. But if we write the information in a paper or any other way if we use, when the receiver, when he receives it, he may get lots of doubts. So he will not get a clarification for his doubt. Sometimes when we send the message, the receiver, he will not get some of the clarification for some of the doubts. So due to that, sometimes he may not understand it, or he may take it in a different way. So unclarified assumptions. Sometimes some assumptions will be there, or doubts will be there in the minds of the receiver, which is not clarified properly in the message or into the communication. Then technical jargons. What is that technical jargons? Technical jargons these are some of the code words, which it may be the code words, or these are the words, or these are the symbols which only those specialists can understand. For example, computer science, if you take, there are lots of programs are there, and lots of code words are there. And if we read it, we are not able to understand anything, because the people, those who specialize in that particular field, they can easily understand it, or they can easily read it. So such kind of jargons we should not use in a while communicating with others, or while drafting messages. We should not use such kind of jargons. What happens in the sense, they may not understand it, or they may not be specialist in that particular field. Then body language and or anyone, it is not necessary to speak. By seeing our body language or gestures, we can understand in what mood that person is in and in what kind of the emotions he is having at right now, whether he is in an angry mood or whether he is in a what calm mood or any other expression. So most of the time it's not necessary for us to speak. By seeing that person's body language, we can easily make out. So sometimes what happens in the sense, he is speaking something and his body language, it shows something else. So there should be a proper body language and gesture while speaking. What we communicating, according to that our body language and gesture should be there. Otherwise other person will think something else there. So these are the barriers which comes under semantic barriers. So these are the barriers mainly we face problems through due to our use of language or use of words or use of pictures or use of any quotes or symbols. What problem we face, that we call it as a semantic barrier. So this is the barriers arises due to the language mainly. Now next we will move towards the next kind of barriers, that is psychological barriers. Which are there? What are those psychological barriers? What is that psychological barriers? We know that semantic barriers is mainly with the usage of words or language it arises. Psychological barriers it arises, it is because of a person's emotions or his feelings. For example, when a person is in an angry mood, how he reacts. When a person is in a happy mood, how he reacts. When a person is in when he is very he will not be clarified about something, or when he will be confused, how he communicates. So that we call it as psychological barriers. Depending upon his emotions, because of his emotions, he may face some of the problems while communicating. So what are those psychological barriers which will be the problems while communicating? In that first one, premature evaluation. What happens? Some people will be in a sometimes, or some people's nature is itself in the sense they will be very urgent. There will be a very urgent. They want to receive very speed, or they want to receive anything in a very fast way. So what happens when other person is communicating something and before he completes the communication, the receiver will receive it in another way. He will grasp the information in other way. That we call it as a premature evaluation. Before sender completes the communication, receiver will come to an evaluation. This can be like this, and this is the conclusion for this particular information. So that we call it as a premature evaluation. Sometimes when he will be in a hurry, or when he will be in a urgency, or it might be his nature. He will be a person, he will be always shows some of he will be in a hurry, or it is his nature. So due to that, what happens? Premature evaluation. Premature means actually sender, he will not complete its information or communication, but he will receive it and he will come to an evaluation or conclusion. Due to that, he may face some of the problems. The lack of attention. This is one more problem. Sometimes, as I said, we will not be in a happy mood, or sometimes we will be in a confused situation, or sometimes we will be thinking of various kinds of personal problems. What happens when when two people will be communicating? When one person, he will not be a very attentive. He will be not being a very attentive. For that, there might be lots of psychological problems. As I said, he may be in a bad mood, or he may be having some other personal problems, or his mind is thinking of something else. He may be in some confused mode. So that whatever it is, he will not provide his 100% attention to the communication. If we do not provide 100% attention to the communication, then there will be a problem. So that we call it as a lack of attention. It is due to his psychological emotions. Loss by transmission of poor retention. What happens here? Well, in an organization there will be so many people. Now, your boss will communicate, your manager will communicate, the departmental head while transmitting or when information passes by person to person, there will be a poor retention. They may not hold that complete information what transferred by the superior. When it reaches to the lower level, it may be something else. Then distrust. What happens? Distrust means, now when two people will be there, superior and subordinate, what happens? Superior may not trust that subordinate to communicate. He will not communicate. Sometimes subordinates, he want to tell something to the superior, but he will not tell to that superior because he will not trust that superior. He may think this superior, he may complain it to the management, or he may complain it to somebody else who is superior to that manager. So he will not trust there, so he will not communicate. So this distrust also may be the one kind of psychological barrier. So this is about psychological barriers. Then nextly, organizational barriers. What are the organizational problems? Organizational policy. Sometimes our organization policy will be very rigid. Rigid means there will be lot of rules and regulations. Lot of rules and regulations means, firstly any information, firstly it should communicate with the manager, then it should move to the management, or if we speak about employees, firstly it move towards the departmental heads, then to the manager, then to the management. So there will be, when your organizational policies will be rigid, you will not be able to speak freely in that particular organization. So due to organizational policy, that policy may be the problem for your communication. Then rules and regulations. As I said, there will be a variety of rules and regulations. Due to that rules and regulations, you are not free to speak with your superiors, and you are not free to convey your problems or any other kind of information, or if you want to give suggestions, you are not providing the suggestions because your policy rules and regulations are not comfortable to you to communicate. Then status. Here superior, he thinks I have to retain my position, I have particular status, so I should not communicate so and so things to my subordinates. Even though I am very free to my subordinates, I will not communicate with my subordinates because I have to maintain my status. So sometimes your status may be barriers for your communication. Then complexity in the organization structure. Complexity of organization structure means, for example, now here principal, then comes their vice principal, then comes their HOD of different department, there may be a different department, then comes their lecturers. So your organization structure, it is in a very complex form. Firstly, a lecturer has to communicate to HOD, then it reaches to the vice principal, then it goes to the principal. So when your organization structure is in a complex form, you may find it difficult to communicate. So your structure may be barriers for the communication. Then organizational facilities. Facilities means your organization will not provide a proper platform to communicate. They will not conduct meeting every now and then, or they will not keep any suggestion box there, or they will not provide opportunity to give your suggestions, or if you have any complaint, they have not arranged about the complaint box. So your organization will not provide a proper platform or proper facility to communicate. Due to that, you will find it difficult to communicate. So these are the organizational barriers. Now nextly, last one, that is personal barriers. There are some of the personal barriers it may be your feeling, it may not be true, but you have some of the barriers here, that is fear of challenge to authority. What happens? Sometimes superior or your manager, he want to communicate something, or he is seeing something and he is finding it is not right, that person is not doing right, but he is fear there. If I communicate, it may be problem to my authority and position, I may lose my job, so he will not communicate. That we call it as fear of challenge to authority. It may come to his position at the end, so he will not communicate. Then lack of confidence of superior on his subordinates. Now sometimes what happens, as I said, the subordinates, he will not believe superior. He want to communicate something, but he will not communicate. He will think my boss will complain it to my management, or he may complain it to his boss. So there may be he is not trusting his communicate, we will not feel like communicating with them. That is his personal problem. He may not like some people. Due to that, he is not willing to communicate with that particular person. The lack of proper incentives. What is that proper incentives? Now, usually what subordinates want or what they do, they want or they expect that our opinion or our suggestion should be taken while making some of the decisions. Now, they provide suggestions or they provide opinions. Yes, their opinions or suggestion is accepted by the management, and based on that they will make the decision. But later there will not be any kind of appreciation or there will not be any kind of reward for those subordinate one who provide some of the suggestions or one who given some of the opinions. So what happens? Here subordinates will feel bad that we did not receive anything back. It might be in the form of incentive or it might be in the form of appreciation or reward. So what happens then? Then they will not be interested to give any kind of suggestions or opinions. So lack of proper incentives. So it may be, so these are mainly the 4 types of barriers of communication. So those are semantic barriers, mainly with your language or what sentences you will frame, and psychological barrier, it is due to what kind of emotions you are having at that point of time when you communicate with other person. And this is organizational barriers, what facilities, due to organization it did not provide you proper facilities or platform to communicate. Due to that, what problems you will get. And last one, it is personal, it is your personal problems. Due to that, what problem you will get while communicating. So these 4 are the barriers to communication. Now there is one last topic remaining, how to improve these barriers or how to improve the obstacles while communicating. That we'll see in the next class, and once we sum up these chapters in the next class.